Hello, everybody. Joe Bacon Notes here. Welcome back for another episode of Umineko. Been a little bit for me, and sorry, last episode went up a little late if you're watching these as they come out. I had recorded that episode like a week ago, and went to go upload it, and I guess it just never hit the upload button. Like, I just left it on the YouTube studio setup. Like, yeah, it's all set up. I got it scheduled, and then I just never hit the upload button and like switched to another tab and started doing other things and then left on my trip, which was, not that bad. Surprisingly cool in Louisiana last week. Like, it was in like the 50s and 60s. It climbed up into like the 80s for one of the days, but all in all, not that bad. Though I did have to do actually work when I was there, which sucked. 12-hour shifts, not fun, shit breaking all the time. It was bad. We had to fucking do a lot of stuff on our jet. Which, it's fine when you leave home, but then as soon as you get off station, it's like, oh, fucking short in the switch in the electrical panel, and it smells like burning in the back. That's not good. Can't fly like that. Oh, the nose tires are bad. Gotta change those. Just fun stuff. But at least we weren't like the Canadians and pushed out a Humvee out of the back, and the parachute didn't deploy, and it just got pancaked on the ground when it landed. Whoops. Though, that's not really their fault. It's mainly whoever backed the parachute. They didn't do it right. It just didn't deploy. It just kind of slid out the back and went... How it's supposed to work is the parachute pops, and it gets, like, ripped out the back. But they showed us the video, and I just kind of went... And, like, slowly just rolled out. And then pancaked on the ground. But anyway, over my little break, I had some time to think, theorize, smoke some fucking crack or whatever, and come up with some theories. And I think I was mostly on the ball. Not last episode, but like the episode before that, I was talking about like, oh, Beatrice, you need to, remove your mask and like enter the story in full, yada yada. Well, Beatrice isn't real. She's not among the 17, well now 16, which also factors into it. And I'm like, I think I was still right. Because, they did. Canon showed up. However, because now we're down another person, which means one person is two people, and the easiest and most obvious one to go to is Canon and Shannon are the same person, which means they are also Beatrice. Big symbolism with the broken butterfly brooch, how only it's split in half and only when it becomes whole can their love be fulfilled, which is also why Beatrice got roped into their little love battle game, because she's also the same person. So it's like only one love can be fulfilled, and only one of them can become fully human by abandoning the other like two personas, and that is like the quote unquote like new entity being that is formed out of the coalescence of them. So only they can succeed. Yeah, you know what I mean. Also, Beatrice. Well, yes, Beatrice, but Shannon and Cannon also only two to be able to well, not the only ones, but both pretty adept in magic, both pretty well acquainted with Beatrice, and again, harkening back to, the flashbacks we've seen in George talking about how, man, Battler and Shannon, when you were kids, you got along pretty good, and it made me kind of jealous. And, Beatrice at the end there, little flashback to, talking with young Battler. It's like, wow, who would be, one of the girls in the age bracket who could possibly be, around Battler? And it's clicking into place. But then it also brings up the fact, who the fuck is Leon? Also not real. Not a real person. And who else isn't real? Beatrice. And Beatrice is gone, no body in the coffin, and like, weird, look at this new character who showed up. How strange. I wonder if there's some connection there. And then, to extrapolate further and go off into the weeds, just gut feeling, with sitting on it, just mulling on it, and just kind of going, I'm calling it. Leon is Beatrice, who is Shannon and Cannon, who are the same person, but not, because narrative tricks. I don't know how that works. how it's like how Kinzo, he was in the story. You know, he was a character, but he's not real. He's dead. He was never there, but he was still, you know, doing stuff. It's a little more complicated with Shannon and Canon because it's like, I've never seen Clark Kent and Superman in the same room at the same time before. How strange. It's like, but no, Shannon and Canon have been in the same room, but, you know, in narrative shenanigans. What do I know? That's the assumption I'm going off of, that Shannon and Canon are the same person who is also Beatrice, who is also Leon, but Leon's more Beatrice than Shannon and Canon. It's all connected, but, you know, degrees of separation and whatnot. Don't ask me who Will is. He's also not real. Same with, you know, Delaney and Gertrude and fucking Cornelia. You know, they're narrative devices. And Erica's just gone. Don't worry about it. Don't think about it too hard. At least I'm not gonna. Okay. That's over. Now, onto the story. The Ushiromiya family members were relaxing here and there around the waiting room. A light buffet-style meal had been set up, but it looked a bit stale and not particularly appetizing. Even so, those, precocious? Sure. Precocious kids seemed to find it intensely appetizing. The cousins had set up camp around it, with Maria at the center. The adult siblings had also formed a group in a different corner. Perhaps because of Kinzo's absence, everyone seemed to be a little more relaxed.
Leon?
It also, you know, now that I'm thinking about it, you know, how did Canon escape the locked room, in order to go save Balor? It's because he was never there. You know, just knocked the number down, and it's like, oop, now it works.
どこへ行っていたのですか？そちらの方は。
母さん、お客様のお相手をしていました。ウィル、こちらは母の夏日です。
紹介はいらない。
Of course, sure it is.
ただ話を聞かせてくれりゃいい。
え、何かおっしゃいまして？
いいえ、何も。
Like a business card?
こちらはウィルさん。個人に縁ある方だそうです。
With a smile, Leon casually smoothed over Will's words.
彼はベアトリーチェのことをより詳しく知りたがっています。母さんはベアトリーチェについては何かご存知ですか？
リオン、個人は当主様のかつての恩人です。そしてそれ以上でもそれ以下の関係でもありません。この葬儀は当主様が個人への生前の恩を報いるためのお式。そう聞いていますし、それ以外のことは何もありません。
You sure about that?
ありがとう、母さん。ウィル、母が知っていることはこれだけです。
Natsuhi was very resistant to the scandalous rumors that Kinzo, a man she greatly respected, had once had a concubine called Beatrice. However, she also understood that the scandal was probably the truth. Picking up that Natsuhi was in a bad mood and didn't want to talk about this anymore, Leon brought an end to that conversation before Will could say something rude again.
ウィル、この礼拝堂は当家の敷地内です。
当家のルールに従えってか。
Yes.
当家の客人にふさわしい口調を改めていただく。話はすべて私を返していただく。その二つを守っていただけるようお願いいたします。
努力すら。
ベルーンカステルとかいう魔女に巻き込まれて。
Oh, yeah, that's putting it mildly.
ですから、私も協力はします。しかし、あなたと私の立場は対等ですので、それをお忘れになりませんよ。
Yeah, no one here is anyone else's boss.
育ちがいいだけのお坊ちゃんだと思ってたら、なかなか言うな。
これでも、後宮家の未来を背負う覚悟はありますので。
わかった。仲良く事件を解決しようぜ、ワトソン君。
ご協力いただけて嬉
Leon
し
got
いです。
shot in Afghanistan?
愛病のダイアナを待たせないためにも。餌の時間は大丈夫ですか？
今日は山盛りにしてある。多少は大丈夫だ。
Cats aren't very good at portioning.
よくダイアナが猫のことだと分かったな。
ソファーを引っかいて待ちわびる女性というのも少々個性的が過ぎると思いましたので。それでまずは誰に話を？
誰でもいい。全員だ。あそこにいるのは
Just gotta get through them all
クラウスの兄
eventually,
弟
you
た
know.
ちか。
向かって右からエヴァおばさん、秀吉おじさん。あちらがルドルフおじさん、キリエおばさん。そしてあちらが
後宮ローザか。少女時
Yeah,
代
we
に
kill
森
her
をさまよい、隠し館でベアトリーチェと名乗る女
Because she killed
遭遇した経
Beatrice.
験を持つ。
A Beatrice. A person who
驚
was
くまいとは
Beatrice.
思っています
Who's
が、
different from Beatrice, the character in the story now.
本当にあなたは何でも知っている。
お前もその話は知っているのか。
今日彼女がそう話しているのを
Yeah, she was kind of
聞きま
going
した
off.
辛そうな話でしたので、
No, she didn't take her
聞こえないふりをし
Valium
ましたが
before, coming to work.
優等生だな。
Not Valium. Well, maybe, her lithium bicarbonate before coming to the funeral.
紹介してくれ。話を聞きたい。
辛そうな話でしたので、聞こえないふりをした優等生の私に。
Even this outrageous arrogance is nothing compared to Kinzo. After muttering this several times mentally, Leon shrugged and nodded at will.
あら、次期当主様じゃない。そちらの方は？
ああ、エヴァおばさん、こちらはウィルさん。個人のために献花に訪れてくれました。
んなことはどうでもいい。ベアトリーチェについて
Yeah,
知って。
she's already in the crowd, who cares?
個人と後宮家の関わりについてお話を聞きたいと言っています。
Leon spoke with a bright smile while pinching Will's butt. Will silently protested, as though saying, even for a gag that hurts. But Leon just played dumb and smiled at Ava like a model student.
後宮家との関わりって言ってもね。
後宮家とちゅうよりお父さんとの関わりっちゅうべきやろな。
Yeah, it wasn't really that integrated, with everyone else.
正直に言えばいいのさ。親父の愛人ってな。
愛人なんて言うとまた夏日姉さんに怒られるわよ。恩人でしょ。
Uh-huh. He's in something, all right.
そうやな。
こんな具合ですが、
ローザ以外には興味ね。
Pinch.
ローザおばさんは確かベアトリーチェに会ったことがあると。
Yeah, tell us, trauma dump us, from when you were a child. This whole time, Rose had been hanging her head. Leon's words made her shoulders quiver.
今日になって急に言い出したのよ。ちょっと信じがたい話だわ。本当なのよ。ベアトリーチェは私が殺したの。
Well, yes, but not this one.
事件解決だな。
早計です。
Rosa broke down crying and laid her head on the table. Kyrie and Hideyoshi tried to console her.
六軒島はうっそうとした森に包まれてる。私たちが知っているのは、そのうちのごくわずか。屋敷とバラ庭園。そして船着き場に向かう
it's
ちょ
still
っ
not
とした
that big.
林道だけ。
You could probably,
誰も
survey
知ら
it.
ない広大な森のどこかに親父が隠れ屋敷を作って。
Though then again, you're a bunch of rich kids, probably not going, bushwhacking in the brush for like a week or two, charting it out.
愛人を住まわせてるんじゃないかって話は相当の昔からあったんだ。
ローザさんは多分、その隠れ屋敷に偶然たどり着いてしまったっちゅうんや。
しかしどうしてローザおばさんはベアトリーチェを殺したの
It was an accident.
私が連れ出さなければ彼女は死なずに済んだわ。彼女は無垢なひよこのような人だったわ。私が連れ出したから素直についてきた。何も疑わずに私の後をぴったりついてきて。
But what can you do? You're a dumb kid.
私が
What kid
あんな足の
hasn't,
悪いところを歩かせてしまったから。
accidentally caused the death of an unrelated person? Am I right?
お前は崖から足を踏み外すことを期待してそこを歩かせたんだ。
そんなつもりはなかった。ただ海が見たいと思って。歩きづらそうだったから、
Mhm.
下に降りれば少しは楽になるかなと思って。
それは殺したとは言わない。
Yeah, you didn't actually just shove her off.
事故だ。
私が連れ出さなければ会わなかった事故よ。私のせいなの。それに私は血まみれの彼女を見捨てて逃げ帰ってしまった。
Also dumb kid things.
あんたのせいじゃねえ。ベアトリーチェは海を一度も見たことがなかった。それを、あんたが初めて見せたんだ。つい浮かれて
Mission accomplished.
一歩踏み外しちまったんだろう。
どうしてあなたはそれを。
Because it's the most logical conclusion to come to.
ベアトリーチェはあんたに感謝こそすれ恨んでるわけもね
え。そうかしら。本当にそうなのかしら。
I mean, probably.
柵の外の世界へ出たいと懇願したのは彼女だろう。お前はその夢を束の間だけ叶えたんだ。俺がベアトリーチェならその束の間の時間をお前に感謝するだろう。
Mm-hmm.
なのにお前がいつまでも苦しんでると知ったら申し訳なく思うだろう。ベアトリーチェはお前に感謝して海が青いってことを教えてくれたあんたをな。
それは本当に。
I mean, I guess.
俺が
I mean, she's dead, so, can't get any guarantee. Though, apparently Will does. Will made that statement openly and boldly. No one could tell how Rosa took those words. However, they had apparently been enough to remind her to take a handkerchief out of her pocket and wipe her eyes.
ありがとう。
その言葉はベアトリーチェが今も
Yeah, you're being
あんた
haunted.
にささやいてる。
ありがとう。
Rosa wiped her eyes with the handkerchief one more time and hung her head. It no longer looked like a fit of sobbing, but more as though she was speaking with the Beatrice of that day within her heart. One last time.
よくもそんな無責任な言葉を堂々とかけられるものです。
Look, sometimes you just need to tell people what they want to hear.
責任がなけりゃ女を慰めることもできねえのか。
多少は見直しました。
For how many years had this tormented Rosa? Now, for the first time, Rosa would probably be able to face that innocently smiling Beatrice who had seen the ocean for the first time in her life. She was the only one who could forgive Rosa. Now, the two of them could finally speak together.
どなたか存じないけれど、ありがとう。彼女は私を許してくれるかしら。
Yeah,
あんたは
probably.
20年
That
近くも
Beatrice
それ
seemed
を
like a
悩ん
nice
だ。
girl.
長すぎだ。彼女はもう勘弁しろと言ってだ。
そうですよ、ローザおばさん。あなたが悲しめば悲しむほど、きっとベアドリーチェも悲しむでしょう。
Yeah, move on. Get over it.
あなたまで
Still got life to live.
ありがとう。私には私が許されるかどうかわからないけれど、彼女が許してくれるかどうか胸の中で問いかけてみることにするわ。
That's more about forgiving yourself.
ありがとう。恥ずかしいところを見せてごめんなさい。
綺麗事を言った下の根も乾かねえうちで恐縮だが聞かせてほしい当時のことを。
Well, now you got the foot in the door, so
ウィルさん、
more likely to speak up.
ありがとう。大丈夫よ。話すわ。
Man, I'm just staring at those sandwiches. I'm hungry as fuck.
誰にも話さずに。
Like, I didn't eat yesterday until I got home at like 9 o'clock at
私の
night.
一番の罪なのか
And
も
I
しれない。
ordered like some pasta.
お前がベアトリーチェに
And
出会
even
った
that, it held me over. Now it's, 1 o'clock in the afternoon the next day, and I'm feeling it. I gotta eat after this. Upon hearing this question, Rosa closed her eyes lightly, reaching back to the past she didn't want to remember.
20年ほど昔の話よ。20いえ19年前か18年前かもしれない。ごめんなさい。長いこと無理に忘れようとしてきたものだから。
Yeah, it gets blurry.
そこは少し忘れかけてるわ。
1967年のことのはずだ。
Reneve had guaranteed that with the red truth in the third game.
そうね。多分1967年頃だわ。あの時の出来事は 写真のように鮮明に覚えてる。忘れられないの。
辛かったら無理に話す必要はありませんので。
But you're gonna do it anyway.
写真のように鮮明に頼む。痛えぞリオン。
何のことやら。
Quit playing fucking grab ass.
家庭教師が私の内緒話を母に告げ口していたのにショックを受けて、あの日私は自暴自棄になって森の奥へ
As kids are wont to do.
どこまで
This tale had also been told in a previous fragment. Back when Rosa was just a kid, she had gone deep into the forest, found a hidden mansion, and met with a mysterious woman who called herself Beatrice.
ほんの少し分け入ることすら難しいあの深い森を。
Kids, they can like scamper over stuff like little monkeys.
自分でも驚くわ。あんなうっそうとした森をよくもあんなに深くまで。たくさんの梢や鋭い葉が
Who's
苛まれ
texting
て
me? Don't care.
でもあの日の私は気にしなかった。森の奥へ消えることで永遠に消えてしまいたかったし、
Single-minded
も
focus.
し本当に森の奥に魔女の館があったなら、自分を幸せの国へ連れて行ってくれるか、カエルにでも変えて森の住人に変えてくれると思っていたから。
Just a frog, you know, not cuter
そ
animal.
してあんたは隠し屋敷クアドリアンにたどり着き、そこでベアトリーチェと名乗る女と出会う。
ええ、あったわ。
そのベアトリーチェは肖像画のベアトリーチェと同一人物
I mean, they sure look pretty similar.
ええ、同一人物だったわ。美しい青い瞳、黄金の髪、黒いドレス、まさにあの肖像画通りの人物だった。私はあの肖像画をお父様が掲
Must have
げ
been
た
quite a
時、
shock to you.
私が忘れようとあがいた20年の月日はお父様にとっても同じ、あるいはそれ以上の日々であったと気づき、さらなる罪に怯えたわ。
それ
Well, as far as the timeline goes, you know, that Beatrice, you know, the one that died in, you know, 1967 was probably, you know, his illegitimate child of, you know, the original, the OG progenitor Beatrice.
本当にローザさんの出会ったベアトリーチェのことなのかしら。
Immediately, Kyria spoke the question that Will had been thinking of. It would be too rash to assume that the Beatrice Kinzo met was the same person as the one Rosa met. The time and generation were different for each.
ベアトリーチェってのは戦後すぐの頃、親父に黄金を貸し付けた勇敢マダムのはずだぜ。
お父さんはベアトリーチェの黄金を元手に後ろ宮家を復興して大金持ちになり、そして六軒島を買い取り移住するんや。ローザさんが出会ったのは、それから10年以上も先の話になるで。
10トンの黄金を自在にできるご婦人が小娘程度のわけはない。ましてやローザがあった頃にはそれからさらに10年以上が
Yeah,
経
your
過してる。
timeline's a little wonky there, Rosa.
ローザ、あんたの会ったベアトリーチェはいくつくらいに見えたのよ。
Love hearing the fire station siren.
当時の私よりは年上に見えたけれど、
Well, it's hard to judge age also when you're a kid, you know. When you're in elementary school, someone who's 15 looks like an adult, but, you know, fucking just a snot-nosed brat once you're 20.
それでも多分成人したかどうかという年に見えたわ。そう、まさに肖像画のベアトリーチェくらいの年齢よ。
Yeah. General age bracket.
中年あるいは壮年に見えたか。
大人か子供かって言われたら明らかに子供に近い年齢だったわ。中年なんてとんでもない。
だからそれじゃおかしいのよ。あんたの会ったベアトリーチェとお父様に黄金を与えたベアトリーチェ、年齢が合わないのよ。
Yeah, even if Kenzo was robbing the cradle, you know, it's still, the timeline doesn't work.
つまり別人ということだ。
よく似た同じ名前の
Mhm.
別人。
娘かもしれんな。親子ならよく似とったに違いない。
Mm-hmm.
愛人の娘ありえるわ。
There we go.
黄金を授けたベアトリーチェとの
Right
間
what I
に
touched on.
お父さんは隠し子を設けたとか。
それがローザの出会ったベアトリーチェ2世ってわけか。年齢的辻褄は合うな。
Let's not go naming them like boats.
なるほど。つまりベアトリーチェと呼ばれる人物は2人いるわけですね。
Which then became 3 later on. Ginzo secretly raised his mistress's child in a hidden mansion. That would make logical sense. Everyone nodded, agreeing. However, Will's expression was slightly unsatisfied, and he scratched at his head.
どうやらこの葬儀は隠したがゆえに弔うことができなかった2人のベアトリーチェのためのようですね。
ローザ、思い出したくねえだろうが、事故の時の話を頼む。ベアトリーチェが転落した時、まだ息はあったのか？
It doesn't sound like it.
いいえ、目を大きく見開いていた。頭から真っ逆さまに落ちて、岩浜の岩の鋭い角に頭をぶつけて、それもあの高さから。
Yeah, nice crunching
頭部は
noise.
陥没して裂けてたわ。
Oh.
美しい黄金の髪がみるみるうちに赤黒くあふれる血に染められて。
一目見て死んだと確信できる外傷だったのか？
ええ、
Yeah.
割れた頭の中身を見たわ。
It's like looking at some sea
握り
urchin
拳で
eggs.
してあれを見て生きててほしいなんていくらなんでも虫が良すぎるわ。
Well, humans are surprisingly durable, but not if, the brains are falling out.
それ以上聞く必要はありますか？
事故時はもういい。それからあんたはどうした？
一目散に駆け出したわ。誰かを呼びに行くためなんて綺麗事でさえない。その場から一刻も早く逃げ出したかったの。錯乱状態になりながら、涙と荒い息でめちゃくちゃになりながら、でたらめにどこも。そしたらいつの間にか見知ったライオンの彫像に出くわしたわ。
ああ、礼拝堂の前の？
いいえ、裏のよ。
ん？
とにかく私は屋敷に帰り着いた。
There's ones on the backside too?
誰にも話せない。
Okay.
話したくない。私は夜まで黙っていたわ。ひどい話よ。急いで誰かに話し、救急箱を持って戻っていたら彼女を助けられたかも
Why
し
are
れ
they
ない
on
の
the
に。
backside? I mean, traditionally you put like lion statues, at like the front entrance.
頭蓋骨陥没を救急箱の何で救えたってんだ？
Kids.
お前が殺したわけじゃない。もう気にするな。
それでローザおばさんはどうしたんですか？
ベッドで何度も寝返りを打ったわ。
Fair.
眠れなかった。深夜にこっそり源氏さんに電話して打ち明けたわ。
源氏は何と言った？
自分に全て任せ、誰にもこのことは言わないようにと。後日きっとお父様に呼び出されてひどく叱られるだろうと数日の間怯えたわ。でも
No.
それはなかった。
Sweep it all under the rug. Just pretend it never happened.
源氏さんはいつものようにしずしずと仕事をする日
And
々。
of course, Genji would be in the know.
お父様は相変わらずの書斎ごもりで
Kudorian and
何
Beatrice
も
and
わ
all
からな
that.
い。
少なくとも私たちの耳には入らなかったわ。
源氏さんがうまく処理してくれたんだろうな。
表沙汰にできない子だったでしょうからね。
隠し子っちゅうたって
Yeah.
血を分けた子供や。
Oh no, it probably fucking tore him up
そ
inside.
の
Something
葬式
fierce.
もまともにあげられんかったんなら、そらお父さんも心苦しかったやろな。
Which, timeline kind of matched
それが
also for
この葬儀で
sending
言う
him
わ
in
け
his
ですよ。
downward spiral of, occult insanity.
それから
私が知っている話は
俺が知っている話もそれで全てだ。
これ以上私は何も
I
隠して
don't
いな
think
い。
you are.
全て話した。誓うわ。
Will scratched at his head, letting his gaze wander. It had taken Rosa a lot of determination to make this confession, but it was nothing particularly special for Will. It had been little more than a review of information he already knew.
ありがとう、ローザおばさん。十分ですか、ウィル。これで話は。
十分だ。おさらいになった。
Mm-hmm. To Will, Rosa's memories gave only information that was already known. It was the first time he had heard all about her running back to the mansion after Beatrice fell to her death, but none of it was particularly surprising. Apparently, Rosa really didn't know any more than this. If he wanted to learn something beyond the fragments given to him by Bernkastel, he would need to find a new testimony.
リオン、金蔵に俺が話を聞きたがってると伝えろ。やはり本人に聞かなきゃ
Oh boy,
話は
Kenzo.
進まね
Hope you're ready for a handful.
あなたはどちらへ？
頭を冷やして整理する。ついてくんな。
それは失礼。どうぞごゆっくり。
After giving an elegant bow, Leon made a face, tongue sticking out. Unless Will had eyes on the back of his head, he couldn't have seen this last bit. Will returned to the chapel by himself. The cold air and the I know it's monotone, but like monotonous? I've never like seen it, used as a, in adjective like that. The monotonous, there we go, emphasis on the right syllable. The monotonous sound of the rain were comforting.
どう？ゲームは。
And he had come here for a little peace and quiet. No sooner had he let out a sigh of relief than a voice rang out.
それは俺が聞くことだ。
It was as though she had been sitting there all along. Bernkastel appeared on top of the altar once more. Apparently, she found this particular altar extremely comfortable.
バトラは無能で私を何度もイラつかせたわ。それに比べあなたは有能だから見ていて安心できるわ。
後ろ宮バトラの時と違い、誰の妨害もね。
Complete outsider, just able to fucking rifle through it all.
気楽なもんさ。
もうそういうゲームは終わったの。物語は
Yeah, this is the
二
after
度
party.
楽しめるわ。一度目はめでて、二度目は腹を引き裂いてね。
Yep, basically saying, go read through the whole thing again and, absolutely fine all the stuff you missed.
肉屋だと思ってやがる。
どう？ベアトリーチェ殺しの犯人はわかりそう？
ローザの告白は過去のかけらですでに知ってる。真新しい情報はない。
She was definitely involved in the death of Beatrice too.
進展はゼロだ。後宮金蔵が本当のことを喋らねえ限り、これ以上の展開はね。まさか俺が金蔵を口説き落として真相を告白させるってのもゲームに含まれてるとは言い出さねえだろうな。
そんなの退屈で死んでしまうわ。真実を語らぬ金蔵は、それ自体が城に守られたキングだけれど、あなたのゲームの障壁になってしまっては面白くない。
Gotta maneuver around him.
拷問はやらねえ。俺の流儀だ。
わかってる。ゲームマスターとしてあんたに力を与えるわ。
Ooh.
金蔵から
What buffs we
真
getting?
実を得られるようにね。
Still wearing shoes, Bernkastel stepped into the casket, picked up one of the flowers that had been sent as an offering, and blew hard as though scattering puff from a dandelion. When she did, a single petal broke off and drifted down towards Will. No longer gold, but with the shine of a transparent crystal.
探偵権限か。
なにその間抜けな能力。違うよ。それは観覧席への招待状。
Okay?
感激
There's an auditorium here?
それを元老院の許可なく与えることは禁じられてるはず。
私のゲーム版で。
Yeah, and she's part of the Senate, so there you go.
誰が禁止すると？
Though the crystal flower petal danced in the wind, it wouldn't fly away anywhere until Will accepted it. Will remembered how useless it was to argue with witches, and he snatched it up. When he did, the petal flashed brightly for an instant, melted into Will's palm, and disappeared.
せいぜい私を楽しませなさい。ついでにあなたも楽しむといい。このベアトリーチェのゲーム版の腹渡がどうなってるか、あんたも興味があるでしょ。
Yeah, it's like tearing apart a washing machine and looking how it works. After Will's rude answer, Burkestel vanished into thin air, leaving behind him a noxious laugh. After clicking his tongue, Will turned around, visibly annoyed. When he did, it felt as though his gaze crossed that of a shadowy figure standing by the door in front of him that led outside.
誰だ?
Now, who's eavesdropping?
失礼しました。
Hey, Shannon, what's going on?
声が聞こえたので、ど
Uh-huh.
ちら様かと思いまして。
シャノンか。今度はお前が受付をしているのか。
はい。カノン君と交代で
Yeah,
受付を
taking
担
turns
当
with
させていただい
Cannon.
ております。
おう。カノンは
Yeah, would it be, we're down to 16 people. Would it be a problem to get Cannon out here? Just talk to the both of you together as a group?
先ほど、
Mm-hmm.
リオン様に休みを取るようご命令を賜りましたので、今は休んでおります。
お前
I'm
も
quite sure.
リオンに面識がないのか。
いえ、そんな。
後ろ宮リオンは銀の指輪を許された次期当主だ。
Yeah, but that's a new MacGuffin that's never existed before, so... Fabrication.
10年を務めたお前が名前を言いよどむのはおかしい。
それは。
安心しな。リオンに面識がねえのは俺もだ。次期当主はクラウスのはず。
Mm-hmm.
子供もジェシカだけのはずだ。リオンなんてやつが後ろ宮家にいたかけらなんて一つもなかったはず。
Upon hearing that Will didn't recognize Leon either, Shannon looked back up at him in surprise. Apparently, she was a bit relieved to find that she wasn't going crazy by herself. However, her expression quickly grew uncertain once more.
ここはどこなんでしょう。後ろ宮家の礼拝堂と思います。でもどことなく雰囲気が違います。
Yeah, don't think too hard about
それ
it.
にリオン様という方がおられたなんて私
It's
全然知りませんでした。
because they don't, but also you might not exist either.
なのに旦那様も奥様も親方様もお嬢様も親類の皆様も当たり前のようにお話をされています。
Just
何が何だか
absolutely getting gaslit.
私わからなくて。
リオンはベルンカステルが置いた駒だ。奴を置くためにさらに大きな猫箱に変えたとも言っていた。それだけでなく、どうもここはいくつかのかけらが継ぎはぎして作られた。
Yeah, it's a compilation episode. It's as though this is a special stage set up specifically for this game. I'm sure she's nodding at my thoughts right now, laughing and chomping down popcorn.
この世界のお前は何年ここに勤めている
10年です。
I see. So it really is a special stage. After all, right when I entered the chapel, I spotted Kinzo. Shannon had worked here for 10 years. Then, this is 1986, the stage of Beato's game. In that case, Kinzo shouldn't exist. However, he definitely was here a few minutes ago. Burkestel promised that all of the information needed for the reasoning was gathered here. She must have... As I choke on my own words... Oh, God. Jesus, what the fuck was that? Coffee. Really acidic. Oh, God. Messing me up inside. She must have crammed all manner of stuff in here to make the truth. I see. So it really is a special stage.
お前はそれだけの長い間後ろ宮家に仕えたなら ベアトリーチェのことを
Oh,
どれだけ
probably
知っている？
quite a bit.
親方様が深く愛された方くらいにしか。
それだけか？
あとその六軒島の夜の主と言われていて、その
Mm-hmm.
そう
A lot of ums and uhs in there, huh?
だ。夜な夜な屋敷を徘徊するとささやかれる亡霊の名もまた。
That brings the number of Beatrices to 3. The first is the Beatrice from more than 30 years ago, who's said to have given Kinzo the gold. The second is the Beatrice from 20 years ago, who met Rosa. The third is the Beatrice of the ghost stories, who's rumored to be the master of the night on Rogenjima.
フルドエリカの推理は正しいだろう。もともと六軒島に存在した悪霊の伝説、そこに金蔵のオカルト趣味と謎の女、ベアトリーチェの名前や肖像が、碑文が次第に加味されていき、黄金の魔女伝説に統合された。そして夜の闇が魔女という人格を得た。それが3人目のベアトリーチェだ。それが連続殺人犯のベールとなる。
Yep, he says, staring directly at Shannon, unblinking. Apparently, she didn't understand a word of Will's sudden monologue. Shannon tried to follow along, but she seemed to be having
無理に理
difficulty.
解するな。頭痛になら。
Yeah, it doesn't make
申
sense.
し訳ございません。
It does, but it doesn't.
カノンもリオンのことを知らないのか？
はい。
Nope.
カノン君も私と同じでした。
Shannon and Cannon, huh? Shannon Cannon, you say? How strange.
カノンも呼んで2人に話が聞きたい。
When Will said these words, Shannon's face went blank and her eyes went wide.
申し訳ございません。受付を開けることは許されておりませんので、私には呼びに行くことができま
What
せ
a
ん。
fucking pre-planned line.
なら誰か代わりを呼んできて受付を変わらせる。
Yeah, get Genji or something.
あんたとカノンと俺、
That's not gonna happen, Will.
リオンを知らない3人で一緒に話がしたい。
受付は一人でいいと仰せつかっております。
2人いちゃいけねえとは言われてねえはずだ。
本日は人手が足りませんので、受付に2人も不要と仰せです。
They're making it real obvious now.
誰がそう命じた？金蔵か？クラウスか？それともリオンか？確認する。
私の命令権者です。私は命令に逆らえません。
Okay.
その命令権者は誰だ？そいつに交渉する。
交渉などできません。私たちの命令権者です。
ここへカノンを呼べ。俺は
Going full furniture mode, huh?
綺麗だ。
Slowly, Will pulled his right hand out of his pocket. When he slowly opened his fist, a small, bright glow emanated from it. The flower petal Bergstell had given him had become a glowing birthmark which sparkled. He held that hand out towards Shannon and slowly
カノンを
approached
呼
her.
べ。お前たちに確かめたいことがある。
お呼びできません。それでもなお、それをご希望ですか？
呼ばねえならお前を感激する。
どうしてもとおっしゃるのでしたら、特別にお呼びすることもできますが。
Yeah, just, she'll have to go poof. There's some kind of incomprehensible tension between the two. Will stood there, his left hand still in his pocket, and his right palm glowing and stretching out towards her. Shannon just stood there, her hands still folded politely in front of her. Her posture beautiful. There was no li in there. And yet, it felt oddly as though raindrops were sparkling and crackling in midair.
カノン君を呼んでまいりますが、よろ
しいですか？
Yes. Let's get weird. Will's expression had remained unchanged the whole time. Shannon's face was still kind and gentle, and yet the tension was as icy as a frozen lake. Beginners in chess will sometimes move their king into check without noticing. One might mercilessly capture the king in such a situation, but high-level players are supposed to calmly warn beginners about their mistake. If you take one more step, you'll get captured. This was similar to that. I see. So, after all...
もう分かった。
Will things just break down if you try to brute force, that to happen?
十分だ。二人で交代で受付を頼む。
Slowly, Will lowered his hand.
ご理解いただけまして助かります。
You just rip out one of the support beams holding this whole thing up, being that, Shannon and Cannon are two different people. And if you try to, forcefully shine the light on the fact that that's not true, everything falls apart. The glow slowly vanished from Will's palm. That completely incomprehensible tension melted away, like a sugar cube in water. However, nothing had changed since the beginning. Will's expression and Shannon's expression were the same as they always had been.
Oh yeah?
Let's pretend that never happened. Footsteps approached them. It was Leon.
立ち話をしていただけだ。こいつに聞きたかったことがあったんだな。
それは何でしょう。そしてそれは得られましたか？
ああ。
お役に立てて
I mean,
光栄です。
we didn't get any direct answers, but some pretty heavy insinuations.
それは残念。傘をお探しのようでしたらすぐにでもご用意させましたのに。
金蔵に話はついたのか？
珍しい客人が挨拶をしたがっていると伝えました。お会いするそうです。
Okay.
ベアトリーチ
That
の
was surprisingly easy.
伝えたのか？
それはあなたの仕事でしょ？
With a slightly mischievous look, Leon turned away. Will scratched his head and shrugged, looking annoyed.
まあいいさ。こいつを試すだけの話だ。
Will opened his right hand and showed it to Leon. It was just a hand, without anything remotely remarkable about it. Leon's head tilted to the side in bafflement at the strange gesture.
ご苦労様です。君の名前は確か。
シャノンです。
そうだった。シャノンでしたね。引き続き受付をよろしく頼みます。肩を冷やさないように。
Mm-hmm.
ありがとうございます。
Yeah, chapels can get a bit drafty. Shannon bowed deeply in response to Leon's kind words. There was not even a trace of tension in her manner.
参りましょう。ビル、せっかく時間をいただけたのです。当主様の機嫌は秋の空より変わりやすいですよ。
いってらっしゃいませ。
行くか。
All right, awesome. We're gonna keep going. These chapters are going bop 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 bop, and I'd feel real bad uploading like 3 50-minute episodes back to back to back. Just gonna, take a quick break here for me. Be back in a second.
ウィラードさんをお連れしました。
All right, and I'm back. Kinzo and Genji could be seen in the VIP room. Kinzo was sitting back in a chair, his eyes closed as though in a troubled sleep.
親方様、お客様がお見えになりました。
Yes, give us plot details. Kinzo slowly opened his eyes. Those eyes were red from crying. They regained their focus and slowly fell on Will.
私が後宮金蔵である。
Yeah, we know.
ウィル。
ウィラードだ。お悔やみ申し上げる。
ベアトリーチェの葬儀に訪ねてくるとは、そなたは何者なのか。
誰でもない。
No, just
誰
a
とも関
drifter.
係ない。深く考えるな。頭痛になら。
もう少し言葉遣いにご注意をお願いいたします。
おかしな客人だ。
It fits right in.
それでこの私に何用か。
ベアトリーチェのことを聞きたい。
Which one?
何？
Kinzo's gaze grew sharp. Leon felt a bit lightheaded and wondered why this guy had to be so direct.
聞いてどうする。お前は誰でもないのであろう。ベアトリーチェのことを知ってどうするという。何の意味があるというのか。
To unravel everything?
俺が誰でもないからこそお前の物語を公正に聞き、残すことができる。お前はじきに
Not even a third party, man, it's a fourth party. Completely unrelated.
その時ベアトリーチェのことを何も語らずに死んだなら、お前の子供たちは彼らが好き勝手に考えた物語でベアトリーチェ
Yeah, gotta set the story straight yourself.
記録に残すだ。
面白い若造だ。お前は遺言屋を気取ろうというわけか。だがそれは余計なお世話というものよ。ベアトリーチェは私だけのベアトリーチェだ。誰が何を語ろうとも私とあれの物語は誰にも怪我せ
The
ん。
truth exists solely in my heart. Yeah, that's great and all, but, you know, once you kick it, no one else is gonna care.
どう曲解しようとも痛くも痒くもないわ。
ウィラード様、親方様は遺言を好まれます。生きているうちより何事かを投げ出すお方ではございません。
Yeah. I need to still write out my will.
らしからぬこととは思っていた。
They keep bugging us at work to do it. Like, get your will done and, you know, a power of attorney if you need it.
誠意ある限りあがいてこそ人間であろうが。
I'm pretty sure I have one, but I did it in, like, basic training, and it was essentially like, I leave everything to my mother and father.
それを早々に
And that was
諦め
it.
遺言に残そうという浅ましさなど少子千万。
確かにその方がお前らしい。死ぬかもしれ
I
ない。
also don't like it because
過去語りを記せと言い出す
it makes the
確かに
reality of your impending death that much more real.
当主様がベアトリーチェ様の
It forces you to acknowledge it.
深く深く愛しておられたことは存じ上げております。私たちにとって当主様は最大の尊敬の対象であるととも
Yeah,
に
that's right. Slather on the butter.
模範です。どうか迷える私たちのためにいかにしておじい様が彼女を愛し抜いたか、愛ゆえに生き抜いたか、その愛の強さを私たちにお導きくださるようお願いすることは
Just
できないでしょうか。
Absolutely fucking leading him by the
なかな
nose.
か達者だ。
あなたが言葉を選ばないからです。
若ず、お前はベアトリーチェの何を知っているというのか。真に無知なる者は関心さえ持たぬ。ベアトリーチェの名を知っている時点で、無知なる者ではなく縁なき者でもない。
I mean, we know like the synopsis.
俺が知っているベアトリーチェは、お前がかつて六軒島に屋敷を設ける以前に出会った。しかし、おそらくは死別して娘を残した。それがクワドリアンで育てられていた娘だ。
ウィラード様、当六軒島にはクワドリアンなる建物は
Yep, so you say.
存在いたしません。
そのクワドリアンという名前、さっきローザおばさんと話した時にも口にしていました。それは一体何なんですか？
察しはついてるはずだ。愛人の娘を囲う。六軒島の森の奥深く
little summer
の
estate
隠し屋敷の
off in the country.
面白い。クワドリアンの名を知ろうとはな。続けよ。お前に興味が出たぞ。
Kinzo shrugged and grinned.
クワドリアンにいたのはベアトリーチェの娘だろう。だが少なくともお前はそうは思っていない。
Yeah, just a continuation of the Beatrice.
ほう。ならば何だと思っていたというのか。
後ろ宮ローザはクワドリアンにて 多少の身の上話を交わしている。その中でベアトリーチェはお前のことを指して金蔵と呼んでいる。
Yeah, not as dear papa.
これはお前を前にしても同じだ。彼女はお前を父と思っていると言ったにもかかわらず、父とは呼んでいなかった。呼ばなかったのか、呼ぶことは許されなかったのか。それが意味することは一つしかない。
それは何だというのか。
She's the replacement.
生まれ変わりだ。お前は娘を忘れがたみだとは思わなかった。
What's that noise? Okay, it's one of the fire trucks down the street. You might not be able to hear it, but I can hear it. I could hear the loud, like, wailing one, like the... And then now I'm hearing, like, the actual, like, woo, woo, and the Before it was just the high-pitched one.
死んだベアトリーチェが新しい体で蘇ったと信じた。
Wild. Reincarnate into yourself.
ゲンジ、あんたはかつて夏日たちの前で金蔵とベアトリーチェに子供はいなかったと証言したことがあるな。
記憶にございませんが。
Different fragment, don't worry about it. Of course, this game's Genji probably wouldn't remember that. However, near the end of the first game, when all the survivors gathered in Kinzo's study, Genji was asked whether Kinzo and Beatrice ever had a child together, and he denied it, saying, I have not heard of anything like that.
聞いたことがないか。ある意味で金蔵の腹心らしい模範的な返答
I can neither confirm nor deny.
何しろ金蔵にとってその娘は生まれ変わりであって、娘ではないんだから。
Also, that was the days before the red truth and, repetition requests and all that.
何の話か分かりませんが、当主様への冒涜は許しません。
So who knows if that was even true?
冒涜じゃねえ。推理だ。
Yeah.
だが、心は理解する。
Also, you can't get sued for slander and libel if it's objectively the truth and you can prove it.
ベアトリーチェは
Well, you can still get sued. It's just, but once it gets to court, the judge is going to be like, what the fuck is this? And drop the case.
死んでも色褪せることなく永遠に。
Well, in a just society anyway.
だが、美しい金髪に青い瞳を持ち、その面影を幼くして持ち合わせていたその娘に、お前は次第に生まれ変わりではないかと信じるようになったとして、それはおかしいことじゃない。
Definitely took after the mother side.
親方様、よろしいのですか?
Shall I throw this insolent man out? Genji asked Kinzo. For a while, Kinzo hung his head in silence, as though remembering something from his own past.
娘は美しく育ち、生き写しになった。お前は狂気したろうな。だが、それでお前が全て満たされていたかは怪しい。なぜなら、お前にとってベアトリーチェは生まれ変わりだ。
Now, the outside might have been different, but the inside was,
当の本人にとっては、そうではなかったから。
なぜそのようなことがわかるのか。
Well, because she told Rosa, who Rosa told us.
本人は自分がベアトリーチェと呼ばれることに違和感を拭えずにいた。人は生まれながらに与えられた自分の名前に違和感を覚えることはない。だが彼女は覚えた。それはベアトリーチェという名が自分のものではないことだ。
Okay. In Kuwadorian, she asked both Kinzo and Rosa about who she was.
何者なのか。皆はわらわのことをベアトリーチェと呼ぶ。それは確かに
More of a title
そなたの言う
than a name.
偉大な魔女の名前らしい。しかしそれはわらわではないのだ。わらわには魔法など何も使えぬ。わらわはその魔女の魂をこの身に封じられているだけなのだ。
記憶はいずれ戻ったのだ。
Eventually?
あれは紛れもなくベアトリーチェの生まれ変わり。記憶は戻りつつあった。我が魔術の儀式によって わずかずつではあるが記憶を取り戻しつつあった。
Either that or she's just nodding along like, yeah, Kinzo, sure, yeah, totally. Oh, it just came back to me.
当主様。
驚くことじゃねえ。これまでのゲームの情報を並べりゃ導かれる。そのままの答えだ。上層のベアトリーチェはそれを指して、死んで逃れた魔女の魂を逃さず肉の体に捉えて閉じ込めたと。そして記憶も力も封じられていると例えた。その会社
just shaping her into, you know, the Beatrice he knew.
ウィラード様、親方様は偉大なる魔法の儀式により亡きベアトリーチェ様の生まれ変わりの赤子を得たのでございます。それを否定することはできません。
コウノトリを否定はしねえ。そして金蔵がどれだけベアトリーチェという女を深く愛していたかも、忘れがためにどういう愛情を注ぐかは人の勝手だ。育つほどに似ていくその姿に金蔵が愛ゆえに特別な感情を持ったとしても、俺はそれを人間らしい感情だと思う。
Yeah, you just kind of, you know, went off the deep end.
お前に我が愛が理解できるというのか。
理解する資格はねえ。だが
Yeah, you can
否
get
定
it.
する資格もね
ベアトリーチェ、私を許してくれ。
Kinzo sobbed quietly for a while, wiping away his tears. Because of love, he believed she was Beatrice reborn and raised her that way. However, somewhere in his heart, he might have felt pangs of conscience, telling him that he might be forcing his emotions on someone who wasn't really Beatrice. Then, the Beatrice of Kuadorian had an unexpected guest, Rosa. Unable to believe that she was the Beatrice that Kinzo desired, and suffering from her inability to understand who she was, she expressed a desire to escape to the outside world. Splat! Then, she fell from the cliff and died.
え。源氏は表に出せぬその死を内々で処理した。そう仕切ったのは死者のためにやるんじゃねえ。
It's for the living to remember them by.
生きてる人間が死んだ人間への未練を断ち切るために行うもんだ。それ
A
が
finality,
できなかった。
so to say. Tie it all off in a nice bow.
だからただれたんだ。
ベアトリーチェ。おお。
Been a while since we got Kinzo's.
おじい様。
あんたは愛人の娘。いや、ベアトリーチェを二度失った。
A special pain.
その悲しみを表に出すことができず、胸の奥に押し込み、
And then it festered and twisted into
それがや
is a
がて垂れ
cult.
て
Yeah.
狂気に変わった。それが晩年まで異常なまでのオカルト趣味に駆り立てる。
I got her back once, I can do it again. I just need to keep going. I'm almost there.
ベアトリーチェ、ベアトリーチェ。なぜ
Poor Kinzo.
なぜに二度までも私の前から去るのか。お前の微笑みを、その美しい髪を、瞳を、私は二度も抱きしめながら、なぜに二度も死すのか。それほどまでに私を。
She doesn't hate you, Kinzo. By now, Kinzo wasn't even trying to suppress his sobs. Sometimes he scratched at his head in anguish. Other times, he faced the heavens like an opera singer. Kinzo yelled over and over again, repeating Beatrice's name. At that moment, there was a quiet sound of a door closing. When they turned around, she was already there. Kumasawa had appeared.
そこまでをご存知でしたら、もうすべてをお話ししてもよろしいの
Please
では
do,
ありませんか。
Kumasawa.
そこまでを知るなら、これ以上何も語ることなどないとも思うが。
Give us different perspectives, though.
いいえ、
As we said, you can't see the
語るべ
truth
きで
from,
ございます。
with one eye.
私は女としてクアドリアンのベアトリーチェ様のお心を誰かに伝えねばと思ってまいりました。そしてその資格を持つ人間が現れました。今こそ全てを包み隠さずお話しすべき時かと存じます。
熊沢さんは知っているのですか？
Well, of course.
ベアトリーチェのことを。
I mean, she taught her.
知ってるだろう。
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious that, the servants are, well, some of them at least, are the bases for some of the demons, Runave's pretty clearly Genji, Virgilia's Kumasawa. Don't know about a gap, though. She seems to be more of like a general fabrication, like the Seven Stakes.
第4のゲームの時、連絡船の船長は熊沢がクワドリアンに出入りしていたことを証言している。おそらく熊沢は屋敷とクワドリアンの双方で異なる勤務シフトを持っていたに違いない。若い娘の世話だ。育児経験の豊富な熊沢はさぞ重宝されただろう。
さようでございます。乳母であったとおっしゃっていただいてもよろしいかと思います。
Perfect. I was thinking of the word, and there you go.
そんな信じられない。
Really? It's fairly easy to believe.
本当にウィルさんの話は本当なんですか？
はい、事実でございます。ベアトリーチェ様のために島の反対側に建てられた秘密の屋敷クワドリアンの存在は真実でございます。
Just, it's not on any maps, otherwise we'd have to pay property tax on it.
当時、すでに莫大な財産を持ち、六軒島を丸ごと買い取った金蔵は、交わらぬ2つの屋敷を建てて、そこに2つの生活を両立させた。
Not unbelievable. Fucking normal people do that. You hear those stories, it comes out that someone had a secret family that neither family knew about. Kinzo's children had also been aware of Kinzo's clandestine eccentricities at the time. Oh god. I overbrewed this coffee. I put way too much in there. Super bitter and it's messing with my guts. Probably hadn't been easy to set up two lives. Moreover, Kinzo's wife had been suspicious and sniffed around all the time.
親方様はお時間の許す限り、時にはご出張と偽られ、何日も滞在され、ベアトリーチェ様との生活を大切になさいました。それは親子としての関係だけでなく、
yeah, it's complicated.
亡きベアトリーチェ様への深い愛を垣間見れる、心温まるものでございましたとも。
それは亡きベアトリーチェの代用品として扱ったこともあったと言っているようにも聞こえるな。
Yeah, but not in a weird way. Let's not get weird with it, please.
そう聞こえたなら申し訳ございません。ベアトリーチェ様は父からの愛は一心に受けられていたでしょう。しかし時にご自身に理解できぬ愛を強いられていたことは否定できません。
Kumasawa's tone made it sound as though she was scolding Kinzo. As a mother who had raised many kids, Kumasawa had probably spotted that Kinzo's love was often of a mistaken sort. Let's just hope that, it wasn't, to that extreme and was just kind of, just kind of weird. Let's just leave it at that, huh? However, the more the girl grew to look like her mother, the more distorted and twisted Kinzo's heart became. Because of his deep love, it grew very, very twisted.
なじれ我が友よ。
Yeah. Yeah, not gonna defend you on that one, bud.
分か
Sorry.
っておる。我が愛は永遠に不滅。なれどそれが間違った相手に注がれたことがあったの。私は認めねばならぬ。
おじい様、
Ew, gross.
まさか。
Yeah.
リオン様、世の中のすべての人間には身に覚えがなくとも必ず何かの縁がございます。
Gross.
その縁が
Super fucking gross, Kinzo. That's not
引き
cool.
寄せるのでございます。
Ugh.
そんなおじい様。
Just as Kinzo had done, Leon also wiped away tears and stared down at the floor. Apparently, the truth had been too much of a shock for the young successor to handle. Yeah, that's not good, bud. That's what we call real fucking bad.
もう語る時ではございませんか。
そうか、その時が来たか。我が友よ。
あんたが語らなきゃ何も真実は明らかにならない。
Don't tell us about that though. We can just skim over that. You know, just that's enough details. Thank you.
親方様、もはや知る権利と資格があるかと思います。
分かっている。今日という私の気まぐれな葬儀に天のベアトリーチェが贖罪の機会を与えたのだろう。今日まで話さなかったことを許せ。
No, it's fine. It's not fine though. After taking a deep breath, Kinzo finally lowered the hands that had been covering his face and looked at Will and Leon with those red eyes.
おじい様。
リオンも聞け。客人よ、ウィラードと言ったか。
Yeah, bit of weird name.
ああ、
この私が自らの口より真実を話せるうちにこの機会を設けてくれたことを感謝する。
Heaven may forgive you, Kinzo, but I won't. That's gross.
お前はきっとベアトリーチェより使わされた天の使いに違いない。感謝する。
その機会を設けたのはベアトリーチェじゃねえ。どこぞの魔女だ。いや、どっちも魔女には違いね。
It's complicated.
お前が誰でもよい。私に機会を与えた。それで十分だ。感謝するぞ、ウィラードとやる。
Kinzo slowly stood up and held out his right hand. He was offering to shake hands. Must have been Kinzo's way of expressing his gratitude. Will responded. Then, the two hands gripped each other tightly in silence. When they did, a bright light poured out from the gap between the two hands. Will felt as though something the size of a grain had burned itself into his palm. It was the power that Bernkastel had given him. The light grew brighter and brighter. However, it seemed that Kinzo and the others could not see it.
今こそ語ろう。私がベアトリーチェにベアトリーチェ・カスティリオーニに出会った。
That's a name.
終戦間際、彼女は海の向こうからやってきた。
Italioni. Bippidi Beatrice. Dang, young war Kinzo. Hey, what's good?
お前は金蔵なのか。
昔のおじい様です。
Man, always had white hair, huh?
写真で見たことがあ
I
りま
mean,
す。
yeah, stressful life, I guess.
これは一体。
ベルンカステルのくれた感激者の力だ。
Yeah, we're transitioning to a flashback.
無理に理解するな。
頭痛になら。
分かってきたな。
Just roll with the punches. At one time, Genji told Battler that he looked like Kinzo in his youth. Yeah, I could see it. Sure enough, though the young Kinzo wasn't exactly the same as Battler, they looked very similar. Damn, they sure sound similar too. Even the voice seemed to resemble Battler somehow. Clearly, Battler had inherited Kinzo's blood more thickly than any other. Yeah, that's how it is, kind of schizogeneration. I resemble pretty strongly, I'm told, my grandfather on my dad's side. Like, a lot. Like, I'm more, like, strongly leaning to my mother's side with, like, the, my genetics and just kind of general appearance, but I'm told, like, I definitely have my dad's side of the family for, like, my facial features. It's no question who my father is, looking at, all my grandfather and his brothers and all that. It's like, yep, no, easy family resemblance on both sides.
関東大震災で主だった者が死に絶え、分家筋のお前が抜擢された。
そうです。おじい様は若くとも聡明な方で、当主にふさわしい貫禄を若くしてお持ちの方でしたから。
とんでもない。欲深な長老たちは、互いの利益ばかりを主張し合い、まるで沈みゆく船で新しき船長は誰かと議論するような愚かさ。
Someone with no ties that's easy to manipulate.
だからこそ本家の誰ともしがらみのないお前が突然に抜擢を受けた。
Blank slate.
すべてはこの足の指のせいだ。
Oh yeah, you got your polydactyl.
足の指が一本ずつ足りなかったなら、我が人生は全く異なるものになっていたである。
I was been a bitch to get boots. In the Ushiromiya family, polydactyly was seen as a sign of good fortune. This was because it was a common factor among many of the greats in the family's history.
くだらぬ話よ。長老どもは自分たちの誰も得をしない馬の骨であれば、
たまたま分家筋に両足の指が6本ある者がいると耳に入り、それでいいと決まったわけか。
そういうことだ。長老どもは自分たちの操り人形になるなら、どこの青二歳でもよかったのだ。むしろ帝王学に無知な人間ほど好ましい。
Really fucking turned it around on them though, huh?
リオ、お前は違う。お前は我が全てを受け継ぐ者だ。お前が生を受けた日よりそれは運命づけられていた。
Sure.
だからこそお前に銀の指輪を与え厳しく育ててきた。そなたは私とは違う。誰にも恥じることのない。立派な
Kinzo kind of, like, grew up like a wild plant and then was transferred into a garden. But, you've been well maintained, your entire growth cycle.
はい。
操り人形の当主か。気楽なものじゃねえだろうな。
As he pondered about where to begin, Kinzo laughed bitterly. It would probably bring back nothing but painful memories no matter where he started from.
あれはあまりに長い灰色の日々であった。それは私には岩に蒸す苔のような気の遠くなるほど長い。
I became the rope in the tug of war between the elders, who thought of nothing but their own profit, and I probably could have snapped at any moment. However, people are far more resilient than one would think. Though I spent so many days like a dead man, I was not killed. So, I would have to search for death on my own. That's why you joined the army? Or the navy? I forget which one you were with. The next thing I knew, I had reached the age where I could no longer refer to myself as young without drawing laughter from those who were. They were long, dreary, gray days without any substance, and they lasted for a full 20 years. In 20 years, a person can be born, find a purpose, and even become their own man with their own place in the world. In short, if one truly becomes a human only when they have become a working adult, then I spent an amount of time long enough to create a human, doing nothing except playing the part of a puppet to those greedy old men. Ironically, though that time aged my body, it did not age my mind. In my heart, I was still young, and I looked back fondly on the fulfilling days before I was summoned to Odawara. Only my body continued to age, and at some point, the gulf between the two had widened to the point that it was hard to comprehend. So, I could hardly believe that the worn-out old man in the mirror was really me. No, it really wasn't me. It was the head of the Ushirimiya family in name only. I had no rights, no autonomy. There was no need for me to do anything other than what was asked of me. I was just a doll sitting there on the shelf, gathering dust. I remember nothing but lazily flipping through Western books I liked, locking myself in my own world, doing nothing but playing with roses and drinking terrible drinks. And it lasted a full 20 years. Before I knew it, I had a stranger for a wife. It wasn't any wife I had chosen. She was someone that the elders had chosen and forced on me for their own reasons, the daughter of some noble family or something. But that hardly mattered to me. I did not love my wife, but neither did I dislike her. I just didn't care. I fathered a few children, but that wasn't out of love for my wife. They were just born before I knew it. That's all there was to it. None of it mattered. No, that's not quite right. Everything was decided by someone other than me, and I simply obeyed. That was the job of the Ushirimiya family head.
ああ、このまま自分は静かに殺されるなど。
Yeah, it feels a little stifling.
信じられません。
Really? I can.
強胆なる名君と称えられたおじい様がそのような日々を送っていたなんて。
I mean, just because you're good at your job doesn't mean you like it.
リオンよ、自ら生きぬ人生ほど希薄で長いものはない。なのに、それはあっという間に過ぎ去るのだ。
Ain't that the truth, bud?
心せよ。
自ら生きる人生。
生きるってことは意志を持つということだ。
Once you start living for a while, it just picks up momentum and it just goes by faster and faster.
殺された日々だったろうよ。
そうだ。私は生きたかった。いや、死にたかった。操り人形はどうすれば死ねる？
糸を断ち切ることです。
そうだ。それが死ぬことであり、生きることであり、解放だ。
Before I realized it, the world had grown troubled. World War II, the Pacific War. Japan had extended their war fronts too far to the east and the west, and the tide of the war was changing. Thanks to the influence of the elders, I was able to avoid conscription. Of course, that was not out of compassion for me. It was because I was their precious puppet. So, the war never really felt that close to me. However, when I personally decided to abandon their protection, it was very easy. At that time, the Ushirimiya family was almost completely collapsed. And since the elders had apparently pilfered enough of the scraps to last them the rest of their lives, they seemed to care little for what I did, now that they no longer had any use for me. So, I realized that I had finally found my time to die. One by one, I cut the threads I was hanging from and began to search for a place to end my life.
戦地で死を求
め、同じ死ぬなら、誰かの役に立つべきと思った。いや、違うな。私には自らの命を絶つ気力さえなかったのだろう。もっともらしく死ねる理由が戦争だったんだ。
おじい様は土木建築の知識がありましたので。
What, were you part of like the engineer corps?
海軍設営隊にて施設造成などに従事されたと聞いています。
とんだ誤算よ。
Yeah.
何の取り柄もないと。
Backline work for you.
すぐにも死ねる最前線へ送られたものを。
最前線に行かずに済んだ
の。
幸いと喜ぶ仲間もいたよ。私には逆だった。戦って死ぬという出来すぎた美酒の焼け酒が欲しかっただけなのだ。
The pain of being a rear echelon trooper.
忘れられた島の上空を米軍の編隊は横切っていくだけ。
Yep, just island hop right past them.
彼らは私のために爆弾一つどころか鉛玉の一つさえ恵んではくれなかったのだよ。
おじい様はその日々の中でベアトリーチェにお会いになられたのですか？
そうだ。あれは海からやってきた。
どこであった？島と言ったが。
ここだよ。この島にやってきたのだ。
お前たちは六軒島で出会ったというのか。
I mentioned it at the time during God, what was it? Fucking episode 4 when they're running through the tunnels to Kuwadorian. I'm like, oh yeah, the fucking Japanese dug tunnels all over the goddamn place.
どういうことですか？おじい様が六軒島を買い取るまでは無人島だったと聞いています。
Secret military outposts, fight to the last man.
この島に日本軍の基地
My
が
life
あ
for
っ
the
たなど
emperor and all that, yada yada yada. I mean, yeah, it was like uninhabited, like there are no permanent settlements, but I wouldn't really call a military outpost, you know, an inhabited island, so to say.
そうだな。あんなものは基地とは呼ばぬ。ただの岩窟よ。私はその岩窟の番人だったのだ。
1944. Due to the honorable defeats at Saipan and Guam, Japan's absolute national defense zone strategy was in shambles. Where had the gallantry of the state of the war gone? The old attackers were now the only ones on the defensive. I mean, yeah, the old attackers were now the ones on the defensive. At that time, it was said that the final trump cards for the Japanese military were the so-called special attack weapons. It was said that these ultimate weapons were packed with 1.55 tons of explosives and capable of sinking any kind of warship with a single blast. Kamikaze, baby! To strengthen homeland defense, the Navy drafted a plan to build a string of hidden bases from Hachijojima to Yokosuka, all to house submarines loaded with special attack weapons. Manned torpedoes, you mean?
八丈島に基地が作られたことは知っていました。しかしそれが六軒島にもあったなんて。
どこの間抜けがこんな何もない島に作ろうと言い出したやら。一苦情の都合。バカバカしい。お上の考えることなどわからぬし。
More just defend every fucking inch of territory.
どうでもいいことだった。
These truly were ultimate weapons, able to take down large warships in a single strike. It was hoped that the presence of submarines capable of loading these weapons into the waters just off of Japan would allow for a powerful sea ambush as a final line of defense. So, to aid in the establishment of a base with absolute secrecy, the uninhabited island Rokenjima was raised as a possible candidate. An investigation of the island resulted in the discovery of a large cave in the cliffs, and this was apparently deemed to be a suitable location for a submarine base.
お前はその基地の建設に関わったわけか。
建設？岩窟を掘り広げただけを建設と呼ぶならな。しかもその上、基地は未完成
Yeah, I
の
wouldn't really
まま
call
放置
the
されたのだから。
defense of the home island plans at this point in the war, you know, elegant.
どうしてです？
当時の日本にそいつを詰めるほどの大型潜水艦はもう残っていなかったのよ。滑稽な話だ。潜水艦もないのに潜水艦基地など今さら必要なものか。役人の無意味な箱物作りは今も昔も
Yeah, at this point the war was already lost. It was just ticking down. The base in Hachijojima was actually outfitted with those weapons and became a base for direct attacks. But Rogenjima was never supplied with any. Not only that, they canceled the construction work entirely, leaving only a crew of minimal size stationed on the island, waiting for orders from above that never came. Could it be the fact that it was a hidden base that sealed our fate? The higher-ups had already completely forgotten about this useless and pointless cavern. We were nothing more than guards for a mere cave. We spent our days farming, fishing, and playing with the dirt, all while gazing up at the American formations flying past. Some of our group were relieved at the prospect of the war ending before anyone remembered we were here, and before any of us had to face a real battle. Of course, it was the opposite for me. I hoped beyond hope for the American troops to advance and kill me as soon as possible. Then, on one of those hollow days, let us go back there now. Back to the turning point of my life and my fate, when Ushinomiya Kinzo finally became alive. Yeah, what is a rich Italian noble doing on bumfuck nowhere island in Japan, huh, Kinzo? But we'll have to deal with that next time on the next episode of Umineko. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell. See you guys all then, where we'll delve into the past and the truth will be revealed on this boy meets girl story between Kinzo and Beatrice I, whose last name I can't remember, but it's very boopity-boppity Italian. Catch you guys then. Later. Bye.